Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Um, Welcome to this information session on the AWS Robotics Startup Accelerator delivered by MassRobotics. I'm Pulkit Kapoor, and I do business development for robotics and autonomous systems at AWS. I'm a robotics engineer by training, and I worked at a robotics startup for the first 5 years of my career. So I'm really excited to be talking to you, many of whom in the audience are robotics founders, CTOs, or robotics engineers. Welcome all. I'm also joined by Fedi Saad from MassRobotics. Fedi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Pulkit, for the introduction. And hi, everyone. I'm Fedi Saad, co-founder of Mass Robotics, which is today the largest hub of robotic startups in the world. We are based in Boston. We're leading a cluster of around 350 robotics companies in the East Coast, and we have 40,000 square feet of world-class, state-of-the-art shared office and lab space for robotics companies. And we are very excited about the collaboration with AWS. And this is a very unique opportunity, not only for AWS, but for all the robotics companies out there, because obviously using cloud for robotics is something very key at this junction in the whole industry. So I'm very excited and very happy, and we will have an amazing session today. And Pulkit has lots of interesting stuff to share with you today, too.
Thanks, Fedi. Yeah, we've put together a great agenda for you, so let's dive in. So, in today's talk, we'll start with an introduction of how we at AWS think about innovation and the challenges robotic startups face to scale their businesses. Next, we'll hear from Fedi about Mass Robotics and how they help robotic startups incubate. We'll share details about the accelerator, such as the program benefits, key dates, and selection criteria. We've kept aside 30 minutes in the end of for your questions, so please stick around for the Q&A after. We're also recording this meeting and we'll post the recording to the folks who have registered and are able to either join late or not attend. So let's dive in. So I like to start with this quote from Amazon founder and chairman Jeff Bezos because it does a great job in encapsulating how we think of innovation at AWS. Invention comes in many forms and at many scales, but the most transformative of inventions are those that empower others to unleash their creativity and pursue their dreams. And if you think of what AWS does, we do this for our customers. We offload the undifferentiated heavy lifting and managing the infrastructure to allow you to build things that matter to your customers. And so I really like this quote, and I like to start this as an inspiration. In today's talk, we'll talk about how AWS can help drive that innovation in robotics and how the accelerator is aimed to do that. A good example of how we think of innovation is when we came out with AWS. This was the cover of Business Week from 2006 when we introduced Amazon Web Services. It says, this is not the cover that CEO Jeff Bezos was looking for because it says that Jeff Bezos wants to run your business with his web technology. Wall Street wishes he would just mind the store. And at that time, we were getting feedback like, Amazon, what are you doing? You don't have the enterprise sales force. You don't know anything about corporate customers that you should be selling this to. And no one would ever put their data in the cloud. Can this thing even be secure? So but we decided to continue to pursue this vision because we knew that this vision was really important to us was to enable customers to move faster. And we knew that innovation, the big part of innovation, was the ability to be agile and fast and respond to customer requests quickly. And what happened? Once the cloud started coming out, it enabled companies that were agile and fast to really have the lion's share of the market opportunity and disrupt incumbents in their sectors. And so enabling startups to be agile and fast was the key thing that we're trying to deliver with AWS. And this is becoming true for robotics too. So back to the innovation, we've had 107 price reductions since 2006 that were not competitively motivated, but just things that we wanted to pass on to our customers. In 2020, we delivered 27,500, 27, more than 2,700 new features and services, and we have millions of active customers that are using these services on a monthly basis. And robotics is an integral part of Amazon. Amazon has been applying robotics in many areas, such as e-commerce and supply chain, for more than 10 years. Not only we have deployed more than 400,000 robots, but we moved robotic innovations to verticals such as last mile delivery with the Amazon Scout, and recently Astro, the home companion robot. We've also developed groundbreaking technology with autonomous flight via prime air drones and using robotics in our fulfillment centers to get packages to consumers faster. This was a big culture change for us, but it's something every organization can do by leveraging AWS technologies that we'll talk about in this session. There's tremendous demand for robotics and autonomous systems, and you guys are a testament to that, the robotic startups that are forefront of that innovations. And robotics is a key element of digital transformation across industries. All trends point to strong growth in autonomous mobility and robotics in the next few years. There are specific industries where we see robotics playing an important role. These include logistics, agriculture, oil and gas, healthcare, and consumer home products. Each of these applications demands more autonomy, more intelligence from robots operating in them. Here are some of the trends we have observed in working with startups and enterprise customers on robotics engagements. First, cloud is an enabler. Companies are recognizing that robots operate a wealth of data and that cloud connectivity can be leveraged to improve operations and enhance local processing. Next, startups are accelerating development by embracing open source hardware and reusable components with software platforms like Robot Operating System ROS. We're seeing changing business models to sell robots as a service and create new revenue stream by innovation in software and services. Another trend is smart connected robots with Internet of Things technologies to better understand the environment and create better experiences for customers with improved value. And lastly, with low cost cameras and sensors, startups are teaching robots new tricks and skills through training via best in class GPU instances available in the cloud. But building such robots with a high degree of autonomy and intelligence can be both difficult and time consuming. Robotics is a multi domain field that requires iterative development and skills in specialized domains such as mechanical, electrical, controls, and AI. As roboticists, we spend long periods of time prototyping as we evaluate all the different components such as sensors and actuators necessary for autonomous operation while optimizing for both functionality and cost. A cloud service can help accelerate the prototyping in a simulated environment. Additionally, not all developers working on robotics applications have access to robot hardware. As one, this can be extremely costly, and two, typically what is being used for prototype is very different from what might be used in production. For all the growth we have seen in robotics, there's still some common challenges that we've observed in working with robotic startups. First, building a robotic startup is capital intensive, especially with requirements for physical testing to ensure the robot behaves as desired in the real world. Second, it's not easy to find the right people with the robotic skills and experience. Third, finding the right product market fit is hard because companies are slow to adopt new technologies and enterprise sales cycles are long. And finally, startups struggle to scale their operations and managing fleets of robots as they move from prototype to pilots to production deployments. So today I'm going to walk you through three high-level AWS solutions that customers are using with their robots. First, we'll dig into some customer stories that will see how our customers are leveraging the cloud to innovate in robotics. So the first thing that companies are using to connect robots to the cloud is for provisioning and over-the-air update. Next, once your robots are able to connect to the cloud, either continuously or periodically, We'll discuss how AWS Cloud enhanced features and highlight examples of running machine learning enabled tasks. And finally, we'll look at we'll discuss how iRobot is able to reduce software defects by running hundreds of cloud simulations regularly as part of an automated continuous integration pipeline. So actually, let's start there. So iRobot leverages AWS Robomaker, which is a software service in the cloud for running large-scale simulations. iRobot wanted to increase the coverage of their tests and put tests at the fingertips of their developers by testing different floor layouts, testing different scenarios, and increasing their code release speed from months to weeks. And doing this in the physical world was really complicated and time consuming. And also, you would often find bugs much late in the testing and development cycle. iRobot's written more than 50,000 tests in software running in simulation. They run these tests on each code commit as well as on nightly build. And these are all integrated as part of a CI/CD pipeline. And this has resulted in not only savings in resources and the number of engineers devoted to physical testing, but also in bug discovery and building a better quality of product. Next, we'll look at Seafloor systems. When provisioning and deploying new software to robots, Seafloor systems ran into common challenges robotic startups face. Keeping the robot software up to date often required costly visits by on-site technicians that could take days to weeks. Using AWS, Seafloor systems enabled operators in the field to reliably deploy new software and onboard new unmanned surface vehicles in minutes without requiring a local technician. In addition, they deployed trained machine learning models securely for inference at the edge. We'll talk about some of these in the accelerator. Seaflow system was able to not only leverage the over-the-air updates, but also be able to just increase the release velocity and be able to deploy machine learning models and updates to their fleet of more than 2,000 unmanned surface vehicles really quickly. So that was a little teaser of some of the solutions that our customers are building. In the accelerator, we'll walk you through some common architecture patterns and be able to set you up for solving your particular problem. So really, we would love to hear what we can help you build with cloud connected robots. Next, I'd like to pass on to Fadi to talk about the role MassRobotics is playing in the accelerator program.
Thank you, Pulkit, and what an amazing introduction about the depth and breadth of what AWS have put together for the robotics industry. Amazing tools and solutions, and also I love the use cases, the iRobot and Seafloor cases. Not many people know about how they actively leverage your cloud technology in their products. So let me share with you a little bit about MassRobotics. I hope some of you have heard about MassRobotics. If not, we started the organization back in 2015. As I mentioned, we are based in Boston, and really, we call ourselves a startup escalator. And this might be a first time you hear this term, but we try to differentiate what we're doing from what incubators and accelerators have been doing. A very unique problem that has not been addressed by the traditional incubation acceleration model. And as you can see in the graph, it's this chasm between accelerators and having an own, excuse me, your own office. And this is a very unique chasm for robotics and hardware companies, because even if you have a working prototype, you cannot ship anything. So we don't have the luxury that software companies and folks in pure cloud technology has. Even if you have a working prototype, you cannot ship anything. You cannot have anything online. You're dealing with physical products, and you want to make sure that your product is validated, tested, and really ready to go and to be sent to companies. So this created a catched kind of 2021 that where would you go after having a working prototype? Nowhere. So we created MassRobotics to basically provide the resources, the tools to help you bridge this gap until you are ready to raise funding, ship your first product, and really scale your company from there. And the model is really based on three pillars. As I mentioned, shared physical infrastructure. We build state-of-the-art, world-class prototyping and lab space and shared offices in the seaport, 40,000 square feet of shared office and lab space. And now we're kind of looking for expansion. We are sold out. We are growing all the time. The second pillar is the strategic infrastructure. So we help our companies with a large network of strategic partners, similar to AWS. We have built a large network of partners that I'll speak about. And the last piece is the ecosystem infrastructure, which we share with other incubators and accelerators, access to investors, access to service providers, access to talent, academia, the whole gamut of an innovation ecosystem. In next slide, you will see that actually we grew from having just two companies to today we have more than 62 resident startups. As you can see, we're running out of space on our wall of fame in MassRobotics. Just last year, we added 50 new residents. COVID didn't slow us down. We have been doubling since 2020. Notable stories. So those companies are companies that either they spun out of MassRobotics, or they have been acquired, or they are continuously growing inside MassRobotics. So I'm sure you have seen or heard of some of those companies. Those companies were originally started or scaled inside MassRobotics. In the next slide, you will see that we have built a very unique, very large network of corporate partners. We have 11 founding partners that really believed in the idea early on back in 2015, 2016, and they helped us to get started. But then we started adding annual partners and collaborators. You see big players in the industrial automation and e-commerce and manufacturing, heavy equipment, a mix of users of robotics, suppliers of robotics, people who develop robotics, and also people who finance robotics. So it's a very nice mix of different players in the space. Festo is a multi-billion-dollar industrial automation company out of Germany. Novanta is also a huge corporate doing products and components for the automation space. Cowen is a 100-year investment bank with a special focus on industrial automation. I do believe most of the other brands are pretty recognized. Thomas Edgley is a multi-billion-dollar private equity firm, also focusing on material handling, and so forth. And we keep adding more and more partners. And obviously, part of this acceleration program is that companies will also have access to those companies. And I just want to highlight that although the core of our operation is in escalation and scaling companies, the reason that we joined forces with AWS on this unique accelerator program is we do believe it's a very key funnel for us to nurture and build companies that hopefully eventually will take advantage of the escalation program that we have, and basically we help them bridge the gap. With all of our partners, we always like to do a win-win relationship, and with some of our key and major partners, we developed unique programs so that we make sure that they are engaged with the startups. They know what the startups are looking for, what are the needs, and also we make sure that the startups understand what those large corporates are looking for and what they're trying to get out of the relationship. So just some examples here with Mitsubishi Electric. Over the last couple of years, we ran a startup engagement program. Basically, the company came to us and said, we developed our vision for Factory of the Future, and we mapped all of our products to this vision. And when we did this exercise, we realized that we have some product gaps, and we know that if we try to develop all of this in-house, we will be crushed by the competition. So we want to rely on open innovation approaches and try to source some of these products externally. And we want to partner with MassRobotics to do that. And we worked together, we developed this program, and right now Mitsubishi Electric is working with 10 companies, and they are developing proof of concept, and some of those they connected with their reseller, with some they're looking for maybe investment opportunities or reselling opportunities. So it's an amazing program. With Festo, for example, we launched a healthcare robotics catalyst program early, actually mid last year, and it just focused on healthcare robotics. It was one of the key areas that Festo was looking to get more involved in and grow in. So we customized this program in order to encourage more and more entrepreneurs and innovators like yourself to get engaged in the healthcare space. If you have a unique technology, why don't you try to target the healthcare space, and so forth. More examples, but if you look at the next slide, we basically part of the programming that we do is we run lots of events just to connect the different stakeholders. Those vary in terms of private events for our close network and partners to huge multi-thousand events like you will see in the kind of next slide. But we have done also fundraising, signature series, and deep dives into particular verticals and so forth. In this slide, you see the largest event we had last year, Robo Boston. This was done in the Seaport in Boston. We had an executive forum, a career fair, and a block party, really open for the public, their families and kids. And more than 5,000 people attended. We had more than 75 robots kind of demonstrated there from all the key companies in the region and beyond. So I believe this is a very brief overview on MassRobotics, but I think let's shift gears to the most important section, which is speak about the Accelerator program. So let's go to the next slide. Basically, it's a 4-week virtual program, so there isn't a need to be in person. The whole program will be run virtually. It will be running from March 1st to March 29th, so this whole month, obviously this year. And Keith will speak in more details about the eligibility, but just keep in mind, we're looking at companies that has less than 1 million in revenues, in annual revenues, and less than 25 employees. So really early stage companies, I would say typically pre-seed to seed, maybe small Series A's. In-depth robotics focus material. So we are looking at companies that are at the intersection between robotics and leveraging cloud technologies, because this is how you get the best benefit out of this program. You have 2 world leaders in their respective fields. You have AWS, world leader in cloud, and you have MassRobotics, the world leader in robotic startup support. So I think this is the sweet spot that we have, and this is the power of such a program and such collaboration, that you get to work with the best of the best in those 2 spaces. And this program is really targeted for the founders of the organization, CEO, CTO level, head of engineering maybe, but really it's targeted at leaders of those organizations. This is just a sample of the program that we will have. First week and last week are a little bit kind of heavy in terms of sessions and talks and trainings and this sort of thing. Week 2 and week 3 is light on the sessions that you will be required to attend, but the expectation is you will be working with your mentors to actually build some sort of a prototype or even scale something that you already have. These are some important dates to keep in mind. So we got an overwhelming interest from lots of people all over the world, and one consistent feedback was, guys, come on. You announced this in November and then the holidays and like everything got kind of switched off and COVID is slowing everyone. Give us more time. So Pulkit, his team, myself and our team, we got together and we decided to extend the deadline for the application until Jan 28th. So we are announcing this today. All the websites will be updated, but originally the deadline was mid-Jan. So we are adding a couple of extra 2 weeks for you to look at the application and hopefully apply. The notification of acceptance will be February 14, and then we'll be running one-on-one calls with the accepted founders just to kind of orient them, get them on board during the last 2 weeks in February. And then March 1st, as we mentioned, we'll start applying. I saw a question about like how many companies we're planning to admit. We will get to all the questions, but this, I mean, we have a note here that we have limited seats available. This is a very focused, very targeted program. So we are looking to work, I would say, um, in the range of around 10 to 15 companies. We might kind of extend it a little bit, but this is the kind of the average and the sweet spot that we want to focus on just to make sure that we are delivering real value for all the participants.
Awesome.
And
Thanks,
now
Fede.
I'll hand over to Purkit to tell you more about the benefits and the selection criteria.
Thanks, Fede. That was awesome. Really great to learn about all the things Mass Robotics is doing with startups, the events, and also your unique model, the Escalator model, where you are, incubating startups but helping them scale as well. Um, so let's talk about some of the benefits of the program. So this robotic startup accelerator is on the heels of multiple other accelerators that AWS has launched in the last couple of years, together with delivery partners. For example, the Space Accelerator with Seraphim, we have the Clean Energy Accelerator, and also a Healthcare Accelerator. These programs, along with the Robotics Accelerator, are designed to accelerate the pace of innovation in these key high growth areas where AWS has made a lot of investments and have experts in, and we want to give back to the community and help incubate startups and help change their trajectory and accelerate their growth. So with the number of perks and benefits that the startups who join the accelerator, we have both business benefits and technical benefits, not just in terms of credits, but also go to market and fundraising guidance from AWS Startup BD and VC teams. In addition, startups in the program will have the opportunity to also connect with investors, such as the Alexa Fund, but also other external investors as well as angel investors, and also connect with Amazon's partner network that will help connect with enterprises and other big AWS customers. But one of the core thing is, and Fedi touched on this, is that we are limiting the size of the cohort because we think that the learning really is also going to be peer-to-peer. That how you will learn from different founders that are going to be in the cohort, as well as being able to take advantage of both MassRobotics and AWS deep expertise and network in this community. In terms of technical benefits, you will get specialized training in AWS robotics workflows, ranging from things like, Internet of Things to software provisioning, machine learning, simulation, as well as edge computing. And this will be through access to, mentor network, through, domain and technical subject matter experts, as well as access to new features that we're incubating and we're coming out with. So I think both access to the community as well as the AWS programs, but also the technical mentors is going to be an explosive combination. I think there was a question on the selection criteria. So we're really focusing on the impact that the startup is having and the problem that it is addressing. We want to have a synergy and a fit with AWS technologies and how you plan to use cloud computing. In terms of, we want a clear, scalable business plan with some amount of validation from VCs or angels and some funding raised. But also, more importantly, it's the scale, that how unique the opportunity is and whether there is existing production deployments or path to production deployments in the next year or so. As I mentioned, you will also get access to AWS programs for robotic startups to grow their business, whether that is through things like Activate, migration paths from your on-premise to the cloud. A key piece of what we offer is a well-architectured reviews where we make sure that your architecture is secure, it's designed to be scalable, but also optimize it for cost. And things like Amazon Launchpad, the Alexa Fund, Marketplace, as well as the partner network. Um, so so next, I want to talk about what are the next steps. So this is the slide that I would screenshot if you're looking to apply. So these are the details. Please email your application to this email address, robotics-accelerator@amazon.com, with these details. The questions that are required to answer are related to the selection criteria, to describe your vision, to why you want to join the accelerator, and how you're planning to leverage cloud computing for your business. And again, I will repeat it once more, that we have extended the deadline because of a lot of feedback and requests by another couple of weeks, from Jan 16th to Jan 28th. And you will get a notification of acceptance by Feb 14th. So Jan 28th is the hard deadline. So please submit your application as soon as possible and before Jan 28th, and we will inform the accepted startups on Feb 14th. And we'll look forward to kicking off the program on March 1st. So with that, that is all I have, and we will take any questions.
Yeah, I think we already received some questions, Pulkit. So I'll start. We have a question about will we get access to this recording and PowerPoint later? So I believe the answer is yes. This will be posted on MassRobotics page, and also there is a link to AWS page. So yes, the answer is yes. How many companies you plan to admit? I think we answered this question. We're looking an average around 15 companies. Could go less or more depending on the quality of the companies. Do you want to take the next question, Pulkit? Do you want startups with traction, or is pre-seed allowed?
Sure. So I think it really depends on your vision and on the scale of the problem you're solving. So we understand robotic startups come in, all different sizes. So I wouldn't discourage you from applying, but it really depends on, what problem it is that you're solving, what is the opportunity size. And certainly, if you are pre-seed, or if you have raised, bootstrapped, or have raised a family and friends rounds, that's not to say that you should not apply to the program. So
Yeah.
please, you're
So
welcome to
the
apply.
answer is please go ahead and apply. Another question, Pulkit, is you mentioned that the program is for less than 25 employees companies. We are almost 100, but less than 10 people are in the robotics team. Can we apply? I
Absolutely.
think it's
Absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, so there is no I think this is where how we chose to define the, where we think the early stage startups are. But as I mentioned, the trajectory is very different. What we really care about is the impact, the vision, the scale of the problem that you're solving. And certainly with a team of 10, robotics folks who are going to be working on this, it seems like that's a great fit. So
Sure.
please don't be deterred by that, and you're welcome to apply.
Very good. Next one is, who are the mentors going to be? I think the majority of the mentors will be from AWS, so I would say, Pulkit, if you want to comment on that, and then I can
Sure.
speak a little
Yeah.
bit about folks from our side.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we have a range of technical mentors as well as business folks that you will be interacting with. So the technical mentors are going to be AWS subject matter experts in the area of simulation, robotics, IoT. These are folks who have, 5 to 10 years of experience working at AWS, working with customers, in understanding their requirements, translating that into architecture diagrams, and then really advocating and advising customers on what pitfalls to avoid and how to scale their workflows. So we've put together a list of about 10 to 15 of these mentors that you will be paired with, and as part of the agenda and the schedule, especially in week 2 and 3, you'll be working closely with those mentors. So you will have daily check-ins, you will have deep dive sessions, peer programming sessions, just to make sure that you build a core prototype that you can then that solves a real world problem that you're having, and then help that scale in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so from our side, we will provide also more uh, business, more robotics executives. So those are people who build companies, robotics companies, and scale them, raised funding all the way to Series B and C. Maybe they exited their companies. So those are the kind of mentors that we are bringing on board. We are not wasting anyone time. This is a high impact, very concentrated program, and the intent is to make every minute count. So this is basically where we're coming from, and this is the guiding criteria for us selecting the mentors and putting the program together. Is this is a true acceleration program.
Yeah.
I would say
There's a next
world-class leaders in
question.
their respective areas. Go ahead.
Sorry, Fabi, I spoke over you. The next
No,
question
it's okay.
is
Go ahead.
on, should the pitch deck be an investment deck or more of a pitch of why we want to join the accelerator? So really, what there are two things. So one is a link to an existing pitch deck, which is of your investment deck of what is the problem, why you chose this problem, what is your vision, and then there's a specific question. So there are three questions, and one of the questions is on why you joined the accelerator. So those are two separate things. We just want a link to your pitch deck and reasons for why you joined the accelerator.
Yeah,
Freddy, the next question might be a good one for you. Is can you talk
sure.
about the media exposure companies in the programs may receive, and how will they be highlighted?
So this is interesting one. So as you can imagine, between AWS and Mass Robotics, we basically have access to all the key media players in robotics and in technology in general. And a good testament for that is the announcement of the collaboration and the program. So my answer is because we know that companies vary. Some companies they like to kind of run at low profile or maybe in stealth mode. Others, they are ready to announce a product or launch, or they have a fundraising coming up. So this will be a case by case. If you need to be on a stealth mode, low profile, we will definitely respect that and honor that. So there's no concern there. If you want to leverage all the media connections that we have, again, we will put this at your disposal. We have the connections, and definitely through our mentors and through obviously the leadership of the program between Pulkit and myself, we will definitely help you with that. So the answer is the connection are there. It's really up to individual companies to decide how they want to leverage that.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add is that AWS also has, a good reach of our blogs and of our public relations, PR, both on the social media
Yep.
and so on. So at the end of the program, we'll take feedback and we will highlight specific demos that companies have built or specific problems they are solving. It might be that there might be an in-depth blog that we do with your team that goes on our AWS Robotics blog, or it might be a PR or a press release that we do about the accelerator itself with details about and quotes from the founders. And that gets picked up by other press and PR. So there's quite a bit of options there, and in the past we've seen that it gets a lot of traction and visibility to startups. So we think that that would be a very effective platform as well.
Yeah.
The next question is, are there any associated costs with the program? Nope, there are no costs. And I think one of the business benefits I forgot to mention, what was on the slides, is that this is an equity-free program. So I want to make sure that that gets communicated clearly. Our AWS is not taking any equity through the Accelerator program. We are, this program is free to attend and free to participate. In fact, for the selected startups, we will provide credits, and we will also be investing AWS, mentorship and MassRobotics time to work with the startup. So this program is
Yeah.
free to attend.
And the same for MassRobotics. All of our programs are equity free. We don't take any equity from our companies, even our residents. We don't take any equity from them. It's a monthly co-working fee that they pay depending on how much space, how much lab space they are using. So yeah, it's more or less kind of same approach here. Next question is, you mentioned this was more for CEOs, but it sounds like the mentors are more tailored to the technical aspects of things. Did I misunderstand your comment? Yes, you did, my friend. So when you go to the slides, the target audience for this program is the founders, CEOs, CTOs, and heads of engineering. So it's both technical and business leaders of the company.
Yeah, that's right. So I think the technical folks will be helping building a prototype, and we'll have a demo day at the end. But for the CEOs, there is a lot of fireside chats with other founders. We will have introductions to VCs as well as through our go-to-market and fundraising in collaboration with MassRobotics. So I think you'll find that there's a lot of programs that are or talk sessions that are tailored for CEOs as well.
Yeah.
But we also want you to build something. So that's where we have the technical mentors.
Sure.
Ideally, we would like two people per startup that are selected, one who's a business person and one who's a technical person, so they can both get benefit and get well-rounded, approach from the accelerator.
Sure. Next question,
Uh,
is this going to be on-site at MassRobotics or purely virtual meetings? Purely virtual. If you are in Boston and you want to come by any means, you are more than welcome to stop by and meet our team. Pulkit also here in Boston, so he can come, but it's not a requirement. All the sessions, all the programming will be done virtually.
Yeah, in light of the current situation of the pandemic, we're planning to have this cohort be run purely virtually.
Yeah. Do you want to take the next one, Pulkit?
Are you looking for companies that already know how to use AWS? That's a great question. So we want folks who have a fit for cloud computing or who have an idea of how they plan to use the cloud. And we think that robotics and cloud go hand in hand. And so there are in the talk you listened about the different workflows, whether that you want to deploy software to over the edge, or you want to do machine learning at the edge, or you want to run simulations. we don't expect you to have prior knowledge of AWS, but we will provide some training and onboarding. You might have a steeper learning curve to kind of get started to AWS, and during the week of February 14th to the 25th, we will have those one-on-one chats with the companies to make sure that if there is anything that they need to do on board to AWS before the program, that they can do that in the first couple of weeks before the program starts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is not required that you know how to use AWS
Sure.
to attend, just that you should have a need for using AWS in your robotics product or
Yeah.
startup.
Great. Great. Next question is an interesting one that I personally get a lot because of all the programming we do with our partners. Does Amazon or AWS have any ownership of generated IP? For companies doing work related to Amazon products or projects, are there guidelines in place for information sharing? So I'll answer the first half, and I will ask Pokit to answer the second one. So the answer for the first half is no. And we in Mass Robotics, we stand firm when it comes to IP, because we told all of our corporate partners, if you try to claim any developed IP from the startups, good luck. This program is not going to work. And this is because we have an intimate experience and relationship with startups and the whole startup world. So we basically advise, and I mean, thank God, 100% success rate. All of our partners, they agree to this policy that any developed IP is the ownership of the startups. Poki, do you want to comment on the second half?
Absolutely. So Amazon's not going to own any IP, and for companies that are doing work related to Amazon products or projects, guidelines in place for information sharing. So, there are a lot of companies that use AWS, and there's a lot of different businesses on Amazon. These are two separate things. AWS is a platform for you to use, and there is no information sharing between AWS and any project that might be going at Amazon. Having said that, if you are a stealth mode startup and you are concerned about that, we will work with you to define what that information sharing is in place. But we work with a number of startups, and there is no information between AWS and the rest. Your data is secured, it's encrypted, and we are here to help advise and guide you, and look forward to doing that.
Yeah, and just in general for everyone on the call and the info session, this is an exercise of really building the pipeline and a whole segment of robotics companies that are leveraging the cloud technology. We are just pushing the envelope there. This is the whole point, and this is the ultimate benefit. If we can achieve that, I think everyone would be happy. I think we had a question about are you interested in sensor companies targeting robotics application, tactile sensors for robotic manipulation? So obviously, I don't know the details in terms of like how this whole solution, the whole system works. Obviously, we do understand what you're talking about, but I think the guiding principle is you need to have a robotics component, and you need to be looking to use cloud technology into that. Whether it's in the design, so you use the simulation tools that Robomaker has, or maybe on the fleet management or other functionality that RoboRunner will provide. So this is, in my mind, this is just an easy way to figure out, do you fit from a technology perspective or not? I don't know, Purkit, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, Fedi. It's more about whether you see that how you can leverage the cloud, and that's why we put that question in the application form. And whether that is that you want to collect your data and use GPUs or machine learning in the cloud to train that, that's a great fit. But I think thinking through, what is that use case that you think AWS can help you with, and how this program will help you scale that, I think is really what is at the core of it. We're not limiting to only hardware companies or only software companies or not sensor companies. It really depends on how you plan to use the cloud and how we can help you.
Yeah. Another question that I got offline when we announced the program is the time commitment. So how much time commitment on your end as an entrepreneur, as a founder? So the scheduled sessions that you will be required to attend will run from I believe 9 in the morning Eastern time to noon Eastern time for the majority of the days. So it's kind of, you can think of it as a half day most of the days.
Sorry,
It will
Fadi,
vary
just
in
to
terms
correct
of,
you, it's
yes,
9
please.
Pacific time, just to make sure that
Oh,
people
okay,
on the West Coast are
okay.
also like, otherwise it will be
9
very early
Pacific to
for.
noon.
Yes.
So 9 Pacific to noon Pacific, right?
Yes.
Okay, my bad. And I don't believe, Purki, that we schedule anything in the afternoon or evenings, right?
No.
Yes. So it's basically it's the first half of the day. This is where we will need to have you present and kind of attending session and maybe having meetings with your mentors. Obviously, there will be one-on-one sessions with your mentors that it's really up to you to schedule it. Okay.
Juan, do you have a question?
I just joined late. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I just joined late. I was on an interview somewhere, so I had to finish some code. But yeah, just I don't have a question. Sorry, just keep going. Should I
Okay,
mute my
great.
video?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you. And please, okay, there's another question. RD9 is a software startup. Would it be possible to use AWS facilities or Mass Robotics Lab for a trial with Robotics Solutions AMR? If you are, you speak about, like, I mean, is this something outside of the program or within the program? If it's within the program, I guess you need to apply. If you get accepted, I think there will be room for that. If you are speaking about outside the program, please reach out to us, to Mass Robotics, info@massrobotics.org. It's listed on our website, and tell us about what you're looking for, and we'll get back to you. Another question is, there's a RAS concept I have that's purely a PaaS software solution that can be made using AWS resources. I have been getting very good validation from customer discovery calls and plan to development phase in a few weeks. Are single founder like me considered? Business plus technical, and happy to collaborate with others and find co-founders. If it's made with AWS resources and strong collaboration with them, does this limit exit opportunities? So the answer for the first question is, if you are a single founder, yes, you can apply. So the best way to know is just to apply. If you don't apply, you are sure 100% you wouldn't get into the program. So please do apply, even if you are a single founder, and we put together an amazing selection committee that will look at the opportunity. And if they have further questions, they will reach out to you too. If it's made with AWS resources in strong collaboration with them, does this limit exit opportunities? Again, there is no silver bullet here. It really depends on how you position it, how you do it. It could actually maximize your exit opportunities. You never know. So this is a strategic question that, again, if you get into the program, you will have both Pulkit, myself, and also very experienced investors, VCs, senior executives advising you on this particular question.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add is that what a lot of the technologies that AWS uses and is built on are open source technologies like ROS and even our Greengrass, our Edge runtime is open source. So with that, I think it really is about you leveraging open source, and it doesn't really limit your exit opportunities. It actually democratizes you to build things quickly, and you can take that to on-premise. You can take it to a different cloud, or if the tools are available there. So really is about using open source technologies to help accelerate your business.
I have a
We did
question.
discuss the question on equity, and it was equity free. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So my question is, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
My question is, I'm sorry I'm late, so this question might have been answered already. My solution has something to do with HoloLens and augmented reality and those type of things. And are you just giving out free services through AWS, or are you somehow, can we somehow make a living off this while we build it? Basically, get like some living expenses money or something like that while we build it, and then you find us the VC capital people and get us some more money so that we can kind of turn this into a business, or is this just free services from AWS?
The 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 intent of the program is to help founders provide them technical mentorship, resources to help them build their startup and scale their startup. We're not providing any cash or any
Right.
funding in the form of expenses and so on. That is not the purpose. At the same time, we're also not taking any equity or any ownership into the startup. So thanks, Juan, for that question, but no, we're
Okay.
not going to be providing that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Tomorrow
And just to
to
make sure
ask a question,
that, okay. So, Pulkit, do we want to keep all the questions on the chat, or do we want to get questions in? I would kind of advising people to keep everything on the chat so that we can have an equal share of time for everyone. Do you have any
Absolutely. Yeah,
preference?
I think we should get questions on the chat so that we can go through them.
Yes.
Please put your questions in on the chat. I know we're
Yeah.
also running out of time, so maybe we can take one or two more questions here. There's a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see the one on the chat? I submitted an application last month, got no response or confirmation yet. Will there be a confirmation email of receiving the application or missing any more paperwork from why cancel patient rotation bed to prevent bed sores? Paki, do you want to
Absolutely.
comment on
Yeah.
that?
So we're just collecting all the information. I did see your application. It has been received. And at the end of this month, we will inform you of whether there were any gaps or whether we have selected the application. So please be patient. Thanks for sending your application. There's a
Okay.
question from Muti on, is the AWS Robot Simulator support Arduino also? Our software tools, the simulation service is agnostic of what tooling you're using, what hardware you are using. It is designed to use containers, and if you can run a container on a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, you are able to use that as well. Typically, we've seen folks use things like an NVIDIA Jetson or a Raspberry Pi, but there have been folks who have used Arduino as well.
Yeah. So very
There's
quickly
a
on the
question.
remaining question. Yeah. Is there any
Yeah,
time spent in the program comparing the AWS simulator to ROS or any other simulation? Yes. We will get key experts in ROS and Open Robotics Organization to speak about that. So the answer is yes. Is the program open for non-US companies? Yes, it's open for any company anywhere they are.
Yeah, so the last question is about from Craig on whether you need to resubmit the application form or just for new. If you've already submitted your application, then you don't need to resubmit it. We have received it, and we will email you with your acceptance or whether we need any more materials. So you don't need to resubmit this. The information session is for those who have not yet submitted or who have questions about what the program is going to be about. And like we mentioned, that we received a lot of interest, and so we're extending the deadline by a couple of weeks. So thanks a lot, everyone, for your questions. If you have more questions, please reach out to us. There is the email address, robotics-accelerator@amazon.com. I also put some links here. We'll have the recording available to everyone who has registered, and on the website, so you can check that out as well. Thank you, Fedi, for taking the time, and we're really excited about this partnership with MassRobotics. So thank you so much.
Same here, and looking forward to meet all the amazing innovators